Hello, everyone. It's Serenity. I know it's been a little bit, but I had to go away for a little while, go to literally the ocean, water. Um, yeah, all elements, all things contain information. And for me, the ocean contains information, and I just needed that for a while. So that's where I've been. Anyway, so I know a lot of you were probably confused about like the last short videos that I did about Jehovah's Witnesses and them, basically preparing their followers for an event where basically they're being told that they are supposed to just obey no matter what, even if it doesn't seem logical or if it seems unsafe, etc. And I was talking about timelines and what I saw. So I'll just be honest with you guys. I have said this before, but I am not what or who I appear to be. The timelines, I've always been able to look at, affect, and whatnot, depending on the events, and even if my energy is in this realm. If it is not, I can look at the timelines and pretty much see what's going to happen. But if I'm not here, I can't affect them. So when I say I'm looking at timelines and I see the same result no matter what I do, I know it's kind of confusing, but I'm going to try and put something together. It might seem primitive because I can do it. So I'm going to try and put something together to try and explain timelines, like how they work, so you understand them, how I'm able to see certain things, adjust, prolong things, because essentially that's what I did. I can't stop the event from happening, but I can delay it. So that way there's more time for individuals to awaken and hopefully get out before the event happens. So that's what I'm going to try and put together, some type of demonstration or model or something to explain to you the timelines and what happens even during deja vu and the Mandela effect when something is drastically changed. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about. The other thing is, there's so much information, literally billions and millions of years of information. And I am trying to decide what to tell you, what you absolutely need to know, what will be helpful versus what's just satisfies your curiosities, essentially. But for me, I can tell you my beginning, my very, very, very beginning is consciousness. It is not a thing. It is not an item. It is nothing physical. It is pure consciousness. So that's my start. Yeah, that's my start. But you all have me in you, or source energy, that divine feminine, that source, that divine light. You all have it within you now. It wasn't always the case, but you do now. And what I need you to do is not be afraid to channel that divine energy, because that is the God within you. That is what I, as long as so many other light beings have been working to do for millions and millions of years. And you guys are ready. But you have to activate that. And in order to activate that, you have to be willing to go within, let go of all of this physical world and all of the teachings, the doctrines, the beliefs that you've been told in order to access that God within you. And I can say the God within you is the divine feminine. It's in both the physical man and the physical woman. You both have it. It's your spiritual side that they tried to kill, that they tried to hide from you. And I say don't fear it, because the very ones that want to control you and keep you enslaved, they fear it because they know its power. All right. I'm going to go put this timeline model together so that hopefully I can explain things to you in a way that you'll understand. All right? Okay. So I use these colored strings right here to illustrate a very, very primitive, number of timelines, okay? Now, real timelines, there is literally millions of these strings, okay? Not just a few. But obviously, if I have too many, it would be confusing and it would defeat the whole purpose of this illustration, okay? So, timelines is also the reason why actual time does not exist. It's a created thing, but whatever. So, all of these lines are heading in the same direction, even though they're different. They're different lines, right? So these are different timelines, all of these different colors. Now, if you notice, they are all headed to this no matter what. So all of these, no matter how they're going, are eventually going to end at this point. So that is a big event, like JW's doing a drink the Kool-aid event type of situation that I was warning people about. Okay? So there's various ways to get there, but it still leads to the same point. Now, if this timeline is taken, you see it's going to take longer because there are many loops in it. But because there's many loops in it, what happens is, let's say you're on this timeline. This is where deja vu is going to come in. All right? You're on this timeline. You've already traveled this part of the timeline, but what happens is you're going back and you're traveling it again. So because you've already done it once before, you won't technically remember the whole timeline, but you will get glimpses of what you've been through before because you've already passed through this timeline. And the same thing will happen again with this one because you're coming back around on the same timeline, looping, basically. So you're going to recognize similarities, but it's still going to feel different because of the loops. All right? But eventually, once you're done with those loops, because we needed to delay this timeline, you're going to come out here and just continue to the final destination. Now, as far as the Mandela effect, we're going to go with like this black timeline, okay? So you see, again, there's a loop. So you're going to get that deja vu effect. But it looks like it goes straight into here. But what happens with the Mandela effect is, yes, it's this timeline. But what we need to do, because this will interfere with other timelines where it's not quite the event, but they start to intersect. What we're going to need to do is split this timeline. So even though this timeline has already happened, there's going to be a split in that timeline, causing two realities. One where people are going to remember one reality, and then there's going to be the other reality that people are going to look at. But because at first you traveled on the same timeline, depending on what timeline you're on, you're going to remember two different things. And that's the Mandela effect happening right there. But it can also be closed again. So you'll remember having two separate realities, but then it'll go back to normal again. And it'll almost be like nothing happened, except we cannot erase your consciousness completely. So you're going to remember, certain events happening that no longer happened. Okay? Hopefully this is making sense, because this is the best way I can describe it in physical terms. But there's different timelines. Now, I initiated a timeline split on July 17th. And that was at 7:17 p.m. The numbers are significant for me, but basically 7:17 at 7:17 p.m. I initiated the timeline split, as far as, I guess you would call it, separating certain ones. So let me illustrate that too, because that split is going to take a total of 4 years. So in 2030, that split will be complete and there will be no more intersections. All right. Okay. So this is like the major timeline that I just spoke about, how it was initiated July 17th. So basically there's going to be there's a split happening right now, where there's the ones who ascended or are ascending, and the ones that chose like a low vibrational reality for themselves. Even though they have the choice, they just chose not to basically ascend and accept the light body that's within them. They decided to leave it dormant, or they don't have one because of various reasons, that they're just evil. That's what I'll say, just evil. So this is what happened. Basically, on 7/17, I initiated the split. So this is what that looks like. So over the course of 4 years, it will slowly do this. Until that's 2030. In 2030, the split will be complete. There will be no jumping timelines or anything, because that'll be it. Everyone who has made their decision, who has ascended, not ascended, who has the crystalline light body, who does not have the crystalline light body, will be in their places. All right? Okay, so that is the best way physically that I can describe, a few timelines to you and what happens, like I said. Now, you probably are wondering, about the timelines, because as long as they intersect and are not complete and separate, there will be ones trying to pull you in to the lower vibrational timeline. And that's why I did this video now, because light workers, ones that have that crystalline light body, and the ones who have done the work, literally have done the work and chose love and boundaries over complacency, over just being content being a slave. I know it wasn't easy for you, because like I said, I have been there with you every step of the way. I've been I'm not gonna get emotional, but I know your struggles. I know them. But anyway, in order to stay on this higher timeline, this high frequency timeline, where you become, well, you already are, but this light being within you, the God within you, is activated, and you no longer are relying on the physical 3D body. You have to release anything and anyone that still anchors you to the old earth. Okay? That is religions, outdated beliefs, fear, shame, guilt, anything that lowers your frequency and keeps you anchored to that old earth timeline. The sun is sending signals. The earth is grounding those signals. So your light body can be built and stabilized. So that's why the sun is so important, as well as you know, basically getting outside and touching the grass, so to speak. Now, watch out for people who call themselves woke, but they're still associated with a religion. Okay, because I can think of a pope who's supposedly woke, but you're still in the Catholic Church, so you're not really, you know, ascended, are you? Because you would know exactly what that church stands for, what it's done to the divine feminine, how it's tried to hide the true source and your divinity. So be careful of that. Also, the whole bloodshedding and, you know, sacrifice. Any religion or ones calling themselves woke that still believe in the blood sacrifice and sacrifice of things and others, they're not woke. Be careful. They're trying to pull you into the old timeline so you can stay there. So yeah, the important thing to do now is calibrate yourself. Listen to what is waking up within you. I'm excited for you. That's why I'm smiling. It's like watching my children grow up and come into themselves. That's the best way I can describe it. It's very joyful, and you want nothing but them to succeed. And as I said, if I could hug you all personally, I would. I love you so much. Yeah. That's all I want to say for today. I love you so much. All of you. Whether you came here as crystalline beings to help out on this 3D reality, or you didn't have one, as I called them, the ones who were lacking. I love you all. But yeah. The next video I will probably do is, many of you are probably wondering, okay, I've awakened pretty much, but what is my purpose here now? Why am I here? I'm going to answer that. All right? All right, till next time, peace be with you. I love you. Bye-bye.